Welcome to Haunted Road Trip Show, where paranormal history is dying to be heard. I'm Tracy St. Croi, psychic, medium, and your guide through the strange, the haunted, and the unexplained. Join us in these spirited conversations with my fellow mystical folk, sharing chilling stories that pull back the veil on the paranormal world in ways you may have never experienced before. So buckle up, things are about to get spooky.
Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another fantastic episode of Haunted Road Trip Show. And today I have another phenomenal guest with me. And I am so happy. I met him on TikTok, and I met him also through a wonderful group that I belong to called the Artistry of Mediumship Tour. Mr. Pheroze, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
All right. How have you been? Now, for those who don't kind of know what you do, because you're psychic, you're medium, but you also are a magnus, you say.
Magus, yeah.
Explain to our listeners and viewers, like, what is that? What does that mean? What do you do?
Sure, basically it means I practice magic. Not like David Copperfield style, but yeah, I practice basically the art of influencing outcomes through working with spirit, working with energy, and working with all sorts of tools and magical practices. Yeah, so
I think that's fun. So my list of people that I would like you to make disappear is not going to be helpful. Is it? Is that what you're saying?
there are banishings. I've done those, so it's like yeah. Well,
We can work on that later.
yeah.
On that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because the general public and even within our spiritual community,
Mhm.
there's different types of definitions or just kind of clarity of what's going on when we say we're doing magic and
Yeah.
we're influencing outcomes. People to me often, like, I get a lot of calls of people saying, like, can you cast a spell for me to make this guy love me? And I'm like, no. And do you know this guy very well? Well, no, but I want him to love me. How do you know he's not like a crazy stalker? Because
Yeah.
then you got a love spell and then you got a crazy stalker on your hands.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be calling me for other things.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. There's definitely stuff I won't do.
yeah.
General stalkery love spells are in that category for sure. Um, but I use the word influence pretty carefully when I talk about magic because you're ultimately you're working with a lot of different forces out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to kind of piggyback on your example, if someone were to come and say like, I want someone to love me, it's like, okay, well, we can work to influence that, but ultimately there's other forces at play that can either accentuate that or go the other way with that. One of the common questions, I'm sure you get this too as a psychic, is, well, if you're so psychic, why can't you predict the numbers for the lottery? And it's like, well, here's the deal. It's like when I put that to magic, it's like I can influence the chances for that, but the reality is, even if I make it like let's say I'll triple the chances to win the lottery through some magical workings, I'm still more likely to be struck by lightning, twice in the same year, statistically. So you're working with influencing, you're working ultimately with different forces and and systems that are out there. So
Yeah.
part of what navigating this is knowing the landscape of what you're working with and how to kind of affect the outcomes that you want. And that.
No, I get that a lot. I get a lot of people that are like, hey, they'll be in a session with me and then they'll say like, hey, I'm going to Vegas or I'm going to these casinos, wherever, and they'll want numbers or they'll want something that's going to guarantee them that big win,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to guarantee you big win because those places were not built to give away money, first off, never. And second off, all I can do is kind of show you maybe what I feel is the energy of your trip.
Yeah.
And maybe the energy of your trip is why don't you save your money for some really good souvenirs
Mm-hmm.
instead of trying to gamble?
Yeah.
Maybe that's going to be a better bet for you than trying to win because it doesn't feel like that energy is around this trip. So don't force it
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
there. So I always like to say like it's like, and I always look at like winning the lottery and things like that. It's like saying like, well, if you're so psychic, why can't you make my life partner come to me in the next week?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, are you clear on what your life partner is? You know who that is, but there, because a big part of it is your own clarity. Your own
yeah,
awareness and your own outcome, and your, life partners. They'll meet you where you're at. For the most part. So it's like you want to maybe work on, maybe kindly say maybe work on yourself a little bit more to become the person that you want to attract. It's like in some way, shape, or form. So
no, I get that. I've had women call me a lot and they say, "Is anybody ever gonna love me?" And I'm like, "Not until you do."
yeah,
And I've gotten hung up on many a times when I've said that.
yeah,
I'm like, I
yeah.
if you don't love yourself, nobody else is going to treat you better. Like, no, that's not the way things work. But you talk a lot about working with the land spirits
Hmm.
for magic and working with the elements that are currently around you. Could you like give us an example of how that would work maybe for somebody who's just dipping their toe into metaphysics or how to kind of work with like say they got a new home or they're at a new office?
Oh yeah. So we there's a few ways to go about this, right? So one is that I think when we talk about working with spirits, a lot of times, like, or there's usually a lot of the population that goes big. Oh, I have my deities that I want to work with, and everyone wants to work with Hecate. If they're in a certain thing, or the archangels. And then you're just kind of like. Well, really, it's like here's an analogy I've heard Jason Miller, who's a well-known sorcerer, use. Is like, so I'm going to borrow it. Is well, if you say you have the CEO of Starbucks on speed dial, that's cool, but if you want a really good cup of coffee, if you call up the CEO of Starbucks, no matter your relationship, they're going to say, "Why are you calling me for this?" If they take the call. So you're better off going to your local coffee shop or your local Starbucks or something, going there, you know, asking for what you want, deciding with clarity what you want,
Yeah.
making the offering, and then, getting your order and doing it again and doing it again in your neighborhood, so that over time, like you form a relationship with that location. You form a relationship with that barista or the baristas who work there, and they know your order, and they're saying, "Oh, this one's on us." Great. So so that's kind of the analogy that I really like. So let's say you move into like a new house or your new workspace or something.
Right.
There's there's energy there, right? There are spirits there. There is history there, and basically working with those spirits, that you're either co-working with or habitating with, is really a fundamental step in so many things. One is you can look at it as protection. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you can also look at it as developing a relationship to bring opportunities that you want, you know, your way. Um, and then it's also, a form of like you're really just kind of like, I don't know, like making the place feel better. um, you know, and if you're for me specifically, like I work a lot locally, so I have a lot of local clients and stuff like that. So for me, working with land spirits really and making offerings or just kind of working with them generally helps kind of increase that, So walk
Yeah.
around and you kind of, understand more of like you're more connected and more local things start to happen, more local opportunities start to happen, etc. I like to do it when I travel too. Just make a little offering to the local spirits, etc., and you connect. And then if it's somewhere I want to maybe go for business sometime or for work, I'll put that intention into my offering. And it's worked before. So, so I think it's just really important because that is kind of where I think a lot of our day to day manifestation, our day to day, like just opportunities and, protection, etc., all really come from. And then it's great to have like a big dog in the wings that you use for the big stuff. You're there,
Right.
and then they might kind of like pawn it off to more local spirits and say like, all right, you guys got this. And so, but yeah,
I like that explanation because I tell a lot of people like start where you're at
hmm
and what are your resources that you currently have available to you now?
yeah,
And let's look at those. So it's like your land that you live on, it has land spirits. Let's
yeah,
get in contact with them.
hmm
You have ancestor and your ancestry.
hmm
You know, get in contact with them. You know, put out some plants, put out some crystals, put out yard art,
yeah,
something to kind of offering and attract in what you want to be able to talk to. Have
yeah,
fun with it, you know.
yeah,
And I'm a big proponent in on like you know, make your space wherever you're at, even if you're in a hotel for a few days or an Airbnb or wherever you're staying at, make that your grounding spot. Like become friends with the land that's there.
yeah,
Because I tell people a lot, like not everybody is in tune to do all this stuff, right?
hmm yeah,
And when you're in tune and you're working with the land spirits, they're probably really happy. They're like, oh, we get to work with somebody. They
right,
know we're here.
yeah,
Let's do this.
yeah, absolutely. You know, hey, someone's like they're there regardless, and someone's really kind of not only paying attention but actively like working with us. So
Yeah,
you know,
it is actively working. It is actively working with us. And that is a trick for jet lag. And also like if I ever have to
Mm,
travel like into another time zone, like 2, 3, 4 time zones away, I try like my best. Like if I can't put my bare feet on the ground where I'm at, I'll take my shoes off and put it on the ground and just kind of energetically put my feet into the ground there
yeah,
and help to connect. It's kind of like remagnetize my body
yeah,
to the zone that I'm in
yeah.
and
No, I
help
love
me
that.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love how you explained that, because I've definitely heard people say, that they ground themselves wherever they're at, but I don't think anyone's ever explained it that way. So I really like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Like I'll visualize like if I can't put my feet onto the ground and I'm just in a hotel or,
Mhm.
I just visualize like my feet, my energy going into that ground and
Yeah.
communing with it and kind of being like, okay, let's co-create together. I'm here for this amount of time.
Yeah.
Here are my intentions. Can you help me hold them?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I love that. And, in just even in what we do professionally,
Yeah.
so you do paranormal investigations. Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. And like I'm going to a house in like 4 hours to check something out, for someone that was referred. So we'll see. But working with the local land, and the spirits and stuff just helps me get in touch much faster, quicker, and resolve what's going on, you
Yep.
know, just that much quicker too, because I have that kind of developed friendships, alliances, and therefore the influence to bring that in, and calm things down as well. So yeah, it's really vital to, really, I think, start there, for people.
It does, and you don't have to make it so complicated for those beginning out there. It's just, start very simple
Mm-hmm.
and then start to expand your practice as you go, because as you open up and you start getting a little bit more, I like to say, curious about who you're working with, why are you working with them, that energy will let you know,
Yeah.
whether it's through a dream or symbology. um and it's always, to me, like really super fun to find out. So I don't know, one of my biggest challenges was when I bought one of my first duplexes and I moved in, and I was like, oh my god, what do I do with all this energy? Like, having to figure out how to really commune with the land and the house,
Yeah.
and how to become friends with it and let it know. I did have some interesting experiences within the first like few weeks, of kind of like spirit running through my house, where I was like, there's a house here now, and I'm going to need you to be aware of that,
Yeah.
because running up behind me while I'm doing dishes is not okay.
Have some boundaries. Yeah. And
Yeah, I was like,
mhm.
whew. I mean, that was one of those things that really caught me off guard, and I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no!" And I
Yeah.
called in a land spirit for one of my guardians of the corner, and I said, no, we can't be having that." So it just kind of took time. So for people out there, like, you're not going to be doing anything wrong if you don't know everything right away. Just start
Mhm.
where you are, and that's where you are. And you can also work with, one of my favorite things is the animals on the land too.
Yeah.
Um, Especially, I'm more attracted to birds and things like that. I can call them in pretty
Hmm.
quickly to alert, and let them know of my presence, and just leave out little presents for them. Look up online what each bird likes and
Oh,
set it
cool.
out for them.
Yeah.
Have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. For you, I noticed big differences when I started just working with the crows in the area, and just regularly, daily, basically throwing out some food for them with, the intention, and then, noticing, like, kind of just a difference in, just in difference when, like, clients come and, for readings and stuff, and just the makes things easier. It's like the energy, they open up the space,
Yeah.
and create that much faster and easier for me. So it's yeah, it's really valuable. The animals are really awesome to work with. And if people don't know where to start at all, I find like the simplest and most straightforward thing to do is just pick a place outside, that you can kind of set up just a very small altar, and have a bowl that is dedicated to that, and just daily just fill that with water, and just call in spirit, and just offer them to water, to the essence of the water, to help just cleanse and refresh. And then you can grow that from there. I like to take the
Yep.
water, and then I'll pick a flower from my garden and put it in there, to get that element in there. And then just the daily practice. And, I have an order of like the spirits that I go through for that. But you don't have to do that. Just go through and just call in the local spirits. You know.
They do. They want to come. They definitely want to come and work with you. And I've seen some amazing videos, especially on TikTok, about people who work with the crows on their land,
Mm-hmm.
and some amazing relationships that you can build with these birds. That I'm like, wow. I'm like, oh man, isn't
Yeah.
that interesting? And crows for me will always be a messenger anyway. When they've been amazing at what they've been able to communicate to me throughout the years, and I'm like, they just show up at the perfect time at the perfect place, and I'm like, you can't make this shit up.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
You just can't make this stuff up. So with you being a paranormal investigator as well, and working with actual kind of, human,
Yeah.
shall we say, the disincarnate, right?
Mm-hmm.
The human disincarnate. Um, do you find that a more playful side of your work? Do you find that more like stretching, going to the medium gym a little bit more than working with the magic?
It's a combination of both. I find that it's both the relationships and the kind of skill sets that have developed with spirit over the years that helps a lot with that. And definitely the mediumship comes into play. Um, but it's also a combination of that and just the understanding of energies and how energy feels different when you cross into a different place, even within the same like stretch of land, and just so you start to pick up things like that. But it's yeah, mediumship definitely comes into play more. I kind of differentiate a little between like the shamanic side of mediumship and then the evidential mediumship. I do both, and both
Right.
come into play there. But the more evidential side, which categorizes like yeah, as you said, like formerly people who are now disincarnate. Yeah, definitely comes into play. Because first thing I like to see is like if I'm feeling that, and it's not just the land or something there that's kind of accumulated. Is it an actual spirit, so to say, or is it a thought form? You know, and knowing how to differentiate between that, how that feels, is just something you build up over time, and working with that, and also something that encourage everyone to kind of develop a relationship with their guides, and even have one guide that you ask to help you with this stuff. you know, they'll give you give you the information. They'll help you out with what that is. So yeah, differentiating between you know um, let's call it spirit generally, and then thought forms, which are generated and can feel like spirit, and in a sense are, but just a different feeling. Yeah, out there.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, those thought forms, those egregores, oftentimes I equate it to like, I see a cassette tape in my mind with it, because it only has like one song. Zhoop, zhoop.
Yeah.
It's a loop. It's a loop. It's zhoop, zhoop, rewind, loop.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
only going to do one or two things that you've programmed it to do, or you have assigned to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and just for anyone who doesn't quite know what a thought form is, because I think there can be confusion around that. It's like, so it's essentially a thought that's received enough focused energy to manifest to some degree in what we consider like consensual reality. The realities we share.
Yeah.
And thought forms can be intentional. You can create thought forms intentionally. And some circles are called like servitors or things like that, or they can be accidental. And they can also be adjusted to a certain point in frequency, so that it can come from the etheric into more of the physical, where then that's where the moving stuff around might occur when it's more thought form, as opposed to a spirit. We can also do that, but there is, as you mentioned, there is a sort of pattern to that. There's almost like a loop to that thought form. So there's that's one big way to feel it out.
Yeah.
And there's also like I'll usually kind of detect like this big blast of psychic energy that occurred at some point, and like the stamp that's left there. And
Yeah.
that's why they can be formed from traumatic or emotionally intensive experiences, because it's like
Yeah.
that stamped it onto location. Um, and it's not stamping the actual event, but it's stamping the mental images and the thoughts of that event, what went around that, which can actually sometimes feel a lot more intense than the event because, so yeah, put it there.
It
So,
definitely does. I like your examples because I give people those examples. I'm like, if you look at something and you're constantly saying that thing is this, that house is this, that um, this and this happened over there to that person. That's what happened there. That was that tragedy. And people keep talking about it. It creates that energy.
oh yeah, you're adding to it,
Yeah.
you
It
know?
is. And we studied I studied for a while. It's called invoking the spirit.
Mm,
So it goes into when you talk about your loved ones, say you're gathered around a table and you're remembering some happy funny memories about say your aunt that passed or whatever, and you guys are laughing about it and you're joking and you're communing with all those stories. Well, it brings the spirit of your aunt into that room, right? It's kind of like an invitation, like you're invoking that, like come
yep,
near us, enjoy in the laughter and the memories with us.
yep,
And the same kind of energy goes into when you're kind of, oh, this bad thing happened over here. I know it. I know it. It, the guy's name was this and he did this and this is the tragedy that happened and da 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 da. Don't go near there.
yep.
Um, same type of principle when people just keep talking again and again. And that is an interesting concept because I tell people sometimes you can put something on an object where it's going to behave like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can uh, inject a thought form into an object specifically, and you can do that. And part of magical practice is doing that intentionally.
Yep.
Crystals are a great, medium for that because they will hold, that stable frequency. I
Yep.
do that a lot with crystals. That's one of the ways that I work with, like, with clearing, like let's just call it a haunted place. So for like,
Well, you
but
do a lot of intricate carvings with crystals, right?
yeah, I do lapidary work where I carve crystals and into shapes and stuff and
So do you have certain ones that you use for like grids for working with either, I don't know if you want to call it shifting or opening up a portal to allow that energy that no longer serves there to exit, or how do you work with that?
a few different ways. I mean, kind of like I have some go-tos for sure. But I will start with kind of like what's going on. And then I will actually I like to just take a Ziploc bag with me everywhere, and I'll collect just make a little offering and collect a little bit of that dirt from the land, and try and find a good rock, um, just so I have a link that I can then work with here, like in my place of power. And then I will actually set that rock in the middle of a grid, and I will create a grid around that with different crystals that feel appropriate, go tos for kind of, I would say, absorbing or working with. I don't like the term, but I don't have a better one. Let's say negative energy.
Right.
Are sulfur. Sulfur crystals are awesome for that. I like quartz. Always clear quartz can do most things, but quartz specifically that has like chlorite in it, which is like a green looking mineral, is
Right.
awesome for that. And I will just kind of feel out what works for all that. And yeah, and I will just really kind of clear out that rock, but also put in like, kind of that intention and energy that we want for the rock. And I'll talk to that rock for a while, through it, link talking to the land and settle that land so to say.
Right.
And then I will take that rock back, and I will grid the property usually, usually with clear quartz, because that amplifies kind of the intention or the energy I want, and then I'll work with the land then specifically. But I like to start with just having something that is going to hold that shift,
Nice.
for the land, and communicate
An
it.
anchor.
Yeah, absolutely.
An anchor that doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then depending on the place, occasionally I'll have like if it's a house, I'll have the person who is, living there just have like some kind of crystal or something. It can be an object that's meaningful to them if it feels good enough to kind of store a lot of like energy. And I'll have that just, we'll work with that together, charge that, and we'll have that in a certain place in the house where it's just going to kind of remain like, undisturbed, able to do its job, and occasionally, recharged.
I know you are loving this episode, so come hang out with us on Patreon, where you'll get bonus content, behind the scenes access, exclusive discounts, and a spooky community that actually gets the love of your paranormal obsessions. So join us at hauntedroadtripshow.com/patron.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the tech gremlins got us. They sure did. Mid-sentence, boom, just dropped the podcast on Riverside.
We're here. I wore the same shirt in case you want to like. Well, I washed it. I gotta say.
No, I got dressed up, and I could, if there was a gun to my head, I wouldn't be able to tell you what I wore the other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have to be like, I really don't know that answer, sir. But it was very interesting that the podcast dropped as soon as you were talking about a paranormal investigation you were going to go on later that day.
Yeah.
So tell us about the investigation.
Yeah. So very, very interesting, because I thought of you because, we talked about a couple things. So I'll tell you what, as soon as I crossed into the town, like that, I was, that the place was in, an owl like took off from a tree to the left of my car and just followed my car for about 30 seconds and then perched in another tree. So very rarely does that happen. So I was like, okay, well this is going to be interesting. And I got to the property and checked it out. I spent about 2 hours there. I sat on the land for a while, and a crow dropped down and just kind of, hung out about 5 feet away from me, just hanging out. And I thought of you because, we were talking about how we work with the birds a lot.
Yeah.
So, then also you'd asked about mediumship and using mediumship when you're checking out properties. And I was, for part of it, because I was like, okay, well, who was here? Who, did anything happen here? And I did pick up and then verify that two people had died on the property in the past several years. A father and a daughter, spaced out about a couple years from each other. Both older, but still it was. And so I was able to get some information from them to help. So it was interesting, So I'm gonna, so I have like a, I always check out the property first, and then I have a game plan, So I'm gonna work on that game plan. I've been working on it, and then I'll go back tomorrow actually and start working on clearing it and cleansing it properly.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it was interesting. It was interesting, the timing. I wonder if it wasn't just so we could kind of share like some recent experience, like there to kind of even validate some of what you were talking about in this,
right.
work, right? So yeah.
Be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah. So
you just might get it and be able to share the cool story on a podcast, right? On there. Well, yeah, that, I mean, it's people ask me all the time, and maybe you can tell me your point of view of this. Like they say, like, "Oh my God, aren't you kind of scared? Or are you totally excited to go into places like these? Like how do you just go there? Like how does your mind be like, okay, I'm gonna go somewhere where like there's stuff, but people can't see it, but there's stuff going on."
Yeah. Well, what do you respond when people say that? It's like, yeah, I
Oh
get
well, I usually respond to like, well, like I'm pretty much not afraid of it,
it. Hmm.
right? And this is how my soul is of service. Part of the way that I'm of service this life
Yeah.
is that I can, I can see, sense, and understand non ordinary reality and be able to communicate it to people who, in a practical, mundane language, so that they can work with it or not work with it, depending on
Hmm.
how they want to do. But that is one of my gifts and my talents. And even though, you can go to places that can be pretty intense and some scary energy and things like that. But when it comes down to it, I'm there to help, whether it's spirit or whether it's people who own the property. And that's what I keep in mind. And yes, I do have fun. I have a kick ass time because I think it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Because it's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely. It's a privilege to be able to do this. In my opinion, it's like it, and it's fun. These are skills that spent a long time developing. I mean, people think it's just like, oh, you can just go and you just wake up and you're always. It's like no, you develop a lot of skills, and then if you're well conditioned or trained or learned, or however you think, you have really good psychic hygiene. you
yeah,
know, really good energy hygiene, so you know how to keep yourself safe in any circumstance. Whether you're just sitting at home and you have like people bombarding you, sit there, because it's usually not spirit that is the issue; it's people. It's like, and it's and so it's and also just remembering that we're spirit as well. We're just in
yeah,
manifest form, you know so so we yeah, it's so I'm never scared, but I'm always like, I look at it as like with curiosity. Like go in there with curiosity, go in there with wonder, and go in there with a game plan of sorts. Okay, well, I'm gonna check out the land. I'm gonna talk to the person there. I'm gonna see what's going on, and then
yeah,
talk to my guides who I can tap into, and then put all that together and see like, okay, well, what's going on here, um, and,
exactly.
and see how I can
I,
help. Yeah.
yeah. I was
Um,
just hosting, I was teaching a beginning kind of like appetizer psychic 101 energetic management class last night. And we were talking exactly about how to keep yourself energetically clear, aware, protected, and what that actually means applied in the mundane world.
yeah.
And I said, and and I talked about that a little bit. It's not shutting spirit off all the time. It's more shutting off other things that we might be picking up on that
Yeah.
might be, or the I call them those pings, like that friend that wants you to call them, or you know,
It's like, yeah, we have, yeah, if someone's calling me every day, like, and I don't, kind of want to talk to them. I don't want to talk to telemarketers, but if it's someone with like good information, I'm going to, take the call.
I do.
Yes.
I call it incoming.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's the basics to me, and I'm fortunate that I was a little wild in my teens and stuff, and just open, and so when you're really open like that, you end up closing yourself a lot, because
Yeah.
and I was fortunate to meet a really good mentor when I was about 21, who really showed me those basics, and got me into psychic hygiene very early on, so it became a good practice. And so I'm fortunate because I meet a lot of people in the field who have a lot of problems with that still. And it's and so they end up getting really tired after like two readings, or they're worried about other people's energy all the time and stuff. And I don't really worry about that so much because I know I have practices, and I've also set up things in a way that I'm good to go. I can read for 10 hours straight. I'm weird, but it's like, yes. So it's important. Yeah, it's important. It's like it's like if you're an athlete, you're going to condition yourself in a certain way to have a certain amount of stamina. It's like for any job,
Exactly.
you want to be able to do it for a long time.
Exactly. You want to take care of yourself. You want to make sure that you can do it for the long haul. And the one thing that I tell my students is, I go, it's gotten, the one basic statement I could say is, this is about minding your business,
Mm-hmm.
not others.
Yeah,
Mind your
absolutely.
own energy, because you can't control that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really wise and valuable advice. Yeah.
It is. It goes into the kindergarten rules, right? Mind your business.
Mind your business. Hold your scissors, like
Right. Mind your business. You're running with scissors. That type of thing. And so maybe you can read for a long time, maybe you can't, maybe you get physically tired, who knows? But set up your boundaries, because eventually even I get tired of talking. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. I get more physically tired, where it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, my voice is like, it's like, okay, so that's when I
Yeah.
just need to stop. But
I'll get to those, and I get to my, like, done. I'm done for the day. Like,
yeah,
come back to me in 2 days, but I'm done. And you
yeah,
got to know your limits on there. So, with all that being said, do you want to play a game?
yeah.
Okay. So we are going to go to book it or book it. Okay.
All right,
So what we are going to do is we are going to go to one of my favorite Instagram accounts called Cheap Old Houses,
all right,
right?
cool.
And we are going to view a few of them. We're going to look through the listings. We're going to kind of have fun there. Would we go inside? What do we energetically see? Would we camp out there for the night, or would we book it the hell out of there?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's go ahead and with the magic of, I better get my glasses on for this one because that screen is super far away. Okay. First contestant. Okay. All right. Do you see what we got here?
I do.
Okay. For the folks that are listening, and if you want to see these listings, go to go to YouTube and you can fully watch them. Or if you want to join the Patreon as well, where all the goody goodies are stored at in there. So we are in beautiful, Savannah, Illinois, which I didn't even know there was a Savannah, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Um, this says, let's see, we are looking at a gorgeous, it looks like a 3-story, little bit of an Italianette style of house with some Victorian touches to it, especially with the tower. Looks like it's got some gorgeous oak trees all surrounding this property. It says it's 4 bedrooms. Um, let's see. Ooh, 60s. Oh, vintage 60s shared bathroom in the listing. Um, I'm all right. Like, creep factor, just looking at it is like a 0 to me. So
Yeah.
I,
The only thing
I
it might
want to.
seem like off is like it's got a lot of windows.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
does.
awful lot of
So
windows.
let's see what at first sight. Okay, I'm going in here. Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
All right.
she needs a paint job, but
Mhm.
I don't know why. I keep hearing the buzzing of bees all around this.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
So I wonder if they've had a bee problem or if somebody, had something to do with beekeeping here. But I'm curious. Whoop, we flew past a few of those pages. Hold on.
Let's see.
Did we get up? There we go. Ooh, it looks like she's got, dang it. There we go. Okay. They got a view from the back.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like a top of the hill view too.
It does. It's like the Beetlejuice house or the practical magic house at
Yeah.
the top of the hill, like overlooking the town. Okay. We've got some good stained glass doors. I'm loving that. The vibe in here says, come on in.
Yeah.
It
It's
almost feels like this was a boarding house at one time.
well, as you know, when I first saw the picture, I was like, "Is this a bed and breakfast?" Is this like? I feel like this housed like, um, not a family, but just different people. It's almost like and I feel like magic occurred in this house, but like people practiced magic. Like it could be
Yeah.
whether it's a coven or just like some people messing around. I don't know. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, because this foyer could look awful like a walk-in lobby. It was just
Hmm.
reorganized. Gorgeous ornate woodwork and stairs in here. Interesting chandelier. I love those top frame doors with the pull-out window at the top too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, woo. Okay. All right. This must be an area that I hear a ton of footsteps. So this had to host large amounts of people at one time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like it looks like they've it's an odd choice because it looks like they've redone part of it, but not all of it in like recent years. Like
It
some of it, the
did.
outside looks a little wonky, like it's peeling and falling apart, but the inside, that parts of that look very fresh or seem very fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like somebody tried to do something with this in the 90s.
Yeah.
That's what that kind of half wall trim, half, wallpaper, half painted wall reminds me of.
Yeah.
Stuff you would find there. Okay,
Oh,
next
there we
room.
go. Okay.
This actually feels like somebody was like almost like really sick in here, almost like in a hospital bed or recovering in here a lot.
Hmm.
That's that first impression of that room that I got. Convalescing, I guess you could say.
Yeah. There's Yeah, there is a vibe of healing here, or people coming to be healed, in a certain way or experiencing that. Um, I'm not getting it like a bad kind of vibe off of it, but
No.
it's just kind of like yeah, um,
I feel like there's an older lady who's very protective over her family here.
mm-hmm.
Like one matriarch here. Oop, did I flip past a photo? Nope. Okay.
No, nothing.
Let's see. Oh, that must be an outside patio view. I would love it. Old Turkish style lamp hanging from here. Looks like an outdoor porch. Screen, kind of closed in outdoor porch. Um, Definite an area to look down upon the town. I'm still, I am, oh, okay. That's interesting. See, now that definitely screams to me this had to be a bed and breakfast at one point.
Yeah, it feels like yeah. I think for your first impression of boarding house and or bed and breakfast, that seems to be pretty on. Like it's yeah. I do feel like there was like a purpose to this though.
Yeah.
It may be for people's healings. It may have been I don't know if it'll be a halfway house, maybe, but
I
it.
was kind of kicking up on that vibe too, like somebody in recovery here
Mm-hmm.
of
That's
some
right.
type. Like, but I also get too, I wonder, because all I want to do is go upstairs where the family, so I don't know if there was a family or somebody who ran this mainly lived upstairs.
What I know is we're seeing four different styles of chandeliers so far.
Yeah, I know. Multiple styles of chandeliers, and they seem to have different decades per um, uh, wing of the house that you're
Yeah.
going in. Because now we're in another outdoor porch that looks like it's from about maybe the 70s or 60s.
Mhm. Yeah, that's looking weathered for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's the mustard yellow paint that gives it away for me.
Yeah. Hey, it's coming back, the bright.
Yeah, it's very clubhouse patio looking to me.
Ooh.
Oh, there she is.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's the 60s style blue tile bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
It still looks
Well,
nice to me.
I mean, it looks nice. It's well kept. This bathroom. I'd expect worse, honestly. I noticed the faucets matching the tiles. I mean, there was some
Yep.
thought put into this. It's yeah. So yeah, I feel that there was something here to appeal to people outside of the owner. Um,
Oh, yes. Up. Okay. That's all they're going to give us on that one. I definitely want to stay and do a little investigation here. What about you?
yeah, I would. I think I'd have a good time doing that. So,
I think I would have a really great time in this house. You know, because I think that if we turned ourselves on and brought Miss Hunty, my little spirit box, I don't think
Mhm.
we would stop getting activity.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think so. And then also, yeah, I agree. And also, like, there's a feeling there of like this place almost being a beacon. Um,
Yeah,
like just kind of like almost like a gathering place for spirit as well. You
that's what I kind of felt like. I was like, there's something unique. I mean, you just kind of look at it. And if y'all want to go see it, it's on Cheap Old Houses on Instagram. It's only 119.9. Um, so don't know where Savannah, Illinois is, but looks
but
like it's
yeah.
got one gorgeous house there for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Okay.
we're gonna do one more. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I saw an interesting one and I really want to look in this.
That's a house or a.
No,
Okay, cool.
it's not.
Uh,
And for those, we are now in we're in Wakanda, South Dakota.
I like his name Wakanda. Okay.
I know, I was like, what? There is a Wakanda and it is in South Dakota
Yeah.
for
Wakanda forever.
those.
There.
Yeah, apparently, we are staring at what seems to be an old bank that's for sale as a residence. And it says it was built in 1913 as the Wakanda State Bank, operating under various names, various functions. You guys can go and find this on Cheap Old Houses and read the full listing about everything that's in there. I'm definitely curious and I want to go in.
Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, this looks a lot like kind of there's a certain type of town that has this kind of building like that stands alone a lot of times.
Yeah,
There's no other buildings around it, in the same block or something like that, and this just looks like it's plonked there. So
it is very interesting. And I really wonder if this bank was ever held up at one time because I keep hearing gunfire.
mm-hmm.
Oops, okay, past one photo. Okay, welcome to Wakanda. Okay. We can see we are on kind of like an older, maybe not as populated street. All right. That's interesting. Entrance way. Seems like a normal style of lobby, but it also gives me this essence here of being trapped. Like I'm confined in here.
Well, yeah, it looks like a controlled entrance, a controlled exit too. So
Yeah.
um,
It has that energy in here of like you are stuck in here. Oh, nice little mosaic tiles, the tiny tiles. I call them the tiny tiles that I saw in my grandparents' house's childhood. Okay.
else, yeah, that's Yeah, that definitely looks like an old style lobby.
Yeah, let's see what else they're going to show us. Okay, let's see if they'll show us something else besides the lobby. Okay, dog
Oh,
in the lobby.
this is still there. That dog is 80 years old. No,
Yes, that dog is 115 years old and still going.
okay.
Um, it
Um,
really gives an air of depression in here, almost like somebody needs to come in here and just clear this all out. Like, I wonder how
yeah,
long this building's been abandoned.
yeah. I think I saw that it was a library after it was a bank.
Okay.
Remember when we first saw the image, the first thing I thought of, and I don't know why, because don't think it looks a lot like it, was the Ghostbusters firehouse. Um, think
Yeah,
that.
a little bit.
Um, I think it's just like the squat, like, I've seen it in NYC, and it's just kind of like it stands alone. It's just like this brick building that stands alone, but it just seems, yeah. But this one just seems this place is a little depressing.
Yeah.
Not
I
scary
don't
so
know.
much as just like,
Not scary, but this I don't know why they posted that photo,
yeah,
I
what,
guess.
photo of just exposed beams. Um,
Exposed beams. I'm like, I don't know what we're doing here. Okay, hold on.
it was,
There. Okay, that looks like offices,
yeah,
but it just uh,
offices.
a vault.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
A nice vault. Well, you get a vault when you buy this place.
that's cool. I mean,
I mean,
that, and you can.
okay, National Safe Lock Company. Okay. Do we get the dog? Because the dog keeps appearing.
He's there. I mean, are those couch cushions turned upside down too? I mean, this
They
has
are
got to
turned upside down.
like, yeah. Um,
They're saying buy this place, it'll be loyal. In
pet
here.
friend.
Okay, here's the back
There's a
entrance.
backyard.
I guess that could be back door, backyard for whoever buys this place.
Yeah, is that backyard? Oh,
Uh,
well, that backyard must be part of it because it's there. It's an odd placement for a bank to have a
yeah,
backyard. Um,
yeah, a really huge. I wonder if there was something else there at one time
right.
behind
Yeah.
it. Bank for the listing. It
Fifty.
I would go in there only because I would love it if I could do some energetic management in there, maybe spruce the place up a bit. It does seem like there, I mean, as far as spirit there, it seems like it would have more spirits around in the neighborhood versus somebody who just statically stays there.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's like I don't feel like there's any like big attachment there, like meaning like there's no spirit or even like big thought form or anything that is like this is my place. Um
Yeah.
it seems very transient. Um
Yes.
and but so what's interesting though is like, when I first saw the first image had the kind of guardian poles or the sentry poles. I look at them, like a gateway.
Yeah.
There's a threshold you go in, just to kind of, they make sure it's a very controlled threshold, to kind of go in. So it's like I'd like to feel that energy shift from just crossing into that, because it feels very disconnected from the area outside of it. Um, yeah, and that feels by design, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
It feels very much, well, I think it was built in 1913, so I think that's at the point where maybe they started building banks a little bit more secure than what they were in the past.
yeah,
Kind of maybe making them look a little bit more ominous.
yeah. You mentioned feeling gunshots, and maybe
Yeah.
something here. Yeah, I think there was some violence happening, um,
Like it just
but didn't seem to stick. So it just seems like transient. Didn't leave like a big um,
mm-mm.
farm. Yeah, I wouldn't stay here overnight just because like I'd be bored.
Yeah.
I think, but I would check it out and just kind of hang out, and it would be, it would be if I were to have this place, I'd turn it into like rehearsal rooms for bands. Uh, and then you could have like outside and hold like a little concert, you know. That's where I'm at. But
That would be cool. Like you could turn it into a mini rehearsal event center.
yeah,
Come see the band before the show before the show.
yeah, exactly. Or even you could make it a little yeah, a very small like venue if you could have the outdoor. It's a pretty big outdoor space. Like put up something there, have a bar, have
Oh
the
yeah.
the stage, and then the inside's got the I don't know, hangout areas. So yeah, kind of.
You can make it. And then you have your own vault.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, this place comes with your own vault.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That
what yeah. That's what I keep remembering. Is I'm like, I get a vault, dude.
Yeah, I wonder if it's big enough. Like so I would live there, and I'd pull a mattress in there and sleep in there, and I'd be like, call myself the money vampire, and then that's, um,
That would be cool to do like TikToks from, like, welcome to
yeah,
my vault.
yeah, It's like, yeah.
Welcome to my vault. So that is another edition, folks, of Book It or Book It. And you can go and see those listings on the YouTube channel if you want to check them out on the Instagram, or go on over to my Patreon where we have full conversations about all things spooky and ooky, including the houses on Book It or Book It. Well, Pheroze, where can people find you? Where's the easiest place?
So two easiest places are my website, so Pheroze.com, and my name's spelled Pheroze. So Pheroze.com. And then out of all the social media platforms, I'm probably most active on Instagram, actually. So, and that's just at Pheroze Croi. So my last name's Karai. So Pheroze Croi.
Yeah.
And that this link is on my website and whatnot. So
All that stuff. It's in the notes, y'all. So don't worry. Okay, you
cool.
won't have to, you know, slam the brakes on to write his name down. I'll have it in the notes for you to go ahead and connect with him. Well, y'all, that ends this very spooky edition of Haunted Road Trip Show. And if you want to check out more of what me and Pheroze are going to be talking about, head over to the Patreon, because that's where the Patreon only podcast lives at. So continue our conversation over there. In the meantime, y'all, take care of yourselves, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, it was nice chatting with you.
Yeah.
That's it for today's journey into the unknown. Thank you for listening, and thank you to my Patreon members for their support and all they do for this show. And if you're dying to see these haunted road trips in action, you can also watch Haunted Road Trip Show on Binge TV, where paranormal history is dying to be seen and heard. Until next time, stay weird, y'all. Real weird.